Alrighty then, so welcome to what is now the start of Need for Speed Road Challenge, which I would like to say is the title I'm going with because, well, this is the power version. So each of these modes I will of course show off, although technically I've already shown off Test Drive simply because, well, I did that in the introduction. And so, where am I going to begin, you may ask? Well, I'm going to begin with Tournament mode, just because this is where we need to begin in order for us to acquire our first car. So this is our first event, the Worldwide Roadster Classic. This entry-level competition puts the ageless style of the two-seat Roadster onto the racetrack. So we can use either one, we can basically use one of two cars here. We can either use the Mercedes SLK 230 or the BMW Z3. We start off with 20 grand, so we can buy either one of these cars. No entry fee, which I would like to mention is what the special events have. And if we can win the event itself, we get a total bonus of 10,000 in credits. Yeah, 10,000 credits. So we start off with 20 grand, and we can basically buy one of two cars. So it's a 3-race championship, and we begin at Landstrasse, and then second race we've got Route à Dampf, and then after that we head to Durham Road for the finale. Direction forward, everything else is off. So let's get to it. And so we need to head to the car dealer, and the only option we have is to buy a car because we do not have any cars available in my garage at the moment. And I can choose between one of two cars here. I can choose either the Mercedes SLK 230 or the BMW Z3. And well, I think because the logical option here would be for me to technically use the BMW, I think this is going to be the place where I start. So I think I'm going to start with the BMW Z3, and the other reason for that is because, well, what I get is a one-make event that is exclusive to the BMW Z3, so this is the optional place to start. And as for the colour, well, I think that's supposed to be white, but I don't know for certain. What colour should I get this thing in? We also get a showroom display, but, well, I might do those in separate videos if I get the time to do it, but for now, yeah, let's get this thing in white, just because it'll be a suitable place to start. So now we have nothing in our bank, but at the very least, we do have a car to use for the event. So, let's do that. Let's go to our first tournament event in Need for Speed Road Challenge. And we begin at the Landstrasse circuit. Our first of 3 for this event. And then, hopefully, if I can manage to start this race off with a win, and maybe even get a clean sweep, then I should have some money to put some upgrades on this thing, but I will have to do some grinding in the process. So here we are then. It is time for race 1. And after a good start at least, I honestly cannot tell if this thing is meant to be white or silver, It looks more like silver rather than white. So that's what I'm going to assume it is. I'm going to assume this thing is silver. But either way. Starting off, Need for Speed Road Challenge in a BMW Z3. And part of the reason for that is because, well, I simply want to make myself stand out. And already making some reasonable progress, as of which I'm already up into 3rd position, and we're not even halfway through the lap yet, and closing in on Bullet just up ahead of me. I'm now over 2 seconds behind the leader, as I am closing in on Nemesis. I just recently cleared Bullet, who is closing in on me again, but I don't think these first couple of events are meant to be hard ones. As I'm closing in on Nemesis in his red Mercedes SLK 230, I overtake him from the outside and immediately up into the lead I go. I would imagine these first couple of races are going to be easy ones. I also don't want to come out of here with too much damage, just because, well, another feature this game has, if you are aware of the vehicle damage display I showed during the test drive, well, during both tournament mode and also during the special events, that feature is locked on simply because, well, vehicle damage does result in repair bills, and it is fair to say I'm gonna have a hefty chunk of those throughout this game, especially on tracks where I know the AI are probably going to be faster than me, but as long as I can remain more consistent than the AI, then maybe if it's possible, I can at least manage to get some momentum
You're
going.
in first place! It's the final lap!
And we do also get voiceover from the guy himself. I think his first name is Peter, but I really couldn't tell you for sure unless I do extensive research. Of course, I did also do some reading in the game manual, but I couldn't really find the name of the guy himself. But yeah, it's basically the same guy we had in the previous 2 games. And it is fair to say he is back again to do another voiceover. Also, if you're aware of the PlayStation versions of this game would also be the 4th consecutive release EA would launch on the Sony PlayStation in the late 90s, as of which they've basically released one game every year up to this point on the PlayStation, dating back to 1996, when the first game was released after the PlayStation had officially been released worldwide the previous year. And it also came over to Europe in, I think, November of 1995. At least I think that's when it came over to us in the PAL region. But of course the Americans got the Sony PlayStation before we did. And obviously the PlayStation itself originated from Japan. And ultimately during this time, of course, these were very much the early days of analog compatibility. So, not really able to use my right analog stick. And as you can see there, whilst I was attempting to use the analog stick to accelerate, unfortunately the feature of me using the right analog stick still isn't available at the moment, but at least I can use the left analog stick. But anyways, coming through the final corner, I'm absolutely decimating the opposition, and there we go.
That's your best lap. You've won the race.
Yeah, what he said. So there we go. I emerge victorious in my first race, and it is a double podium for the BMWs.
2, 1, go!
So, here we go. I should also mention there's an option for me to get the CD tracks in this game changed, as of which we do get quite a lot of those. I don't think music in this game is copyrighted, but I did of course turn down the music just in case. I'm pretty sure it's not copyrighted, but even if it is, then at least it proves I'm able to give you some amusement aside from me ranting like an idiot, which is what I tend to do a lot of the time. So we get some pretty unique views here, as I'm trying to figure out which one to use, and well, might as well use the first camera view whilst I'm here. Just trying to see which one would be the best one. And I think camera view 2 is probably the best one for me to use, because then it proves I'm able to get some up close shots of this car. So got a little bit of damage there on the bonnet or the hood. I would like to say I am someone who's a combination of both British and American English. And I don't think I came away from here with too much damage, so hopefully the repair bill is not going to be too high. But either way, contact from the AI, especially if it's hard contact, it can result in money itself being lost. But hopefully the scratches aren't going to take too much out of the winning purse. Well, anyways. So those are your results. Nemesis finished in seconds, 9 seconds behind me. Then I was bulletin third in the first of the BMWs. 5 minutes and 30 seconds is what it took for me to finish this race. Frost was fourth, ahead of Chump, and Ranger finishes in last. So, gonna press the start button now and move away from this screen, and now let's move on to the points. Whilst I wait for the game to load.
Congratulations! You've got a top time for this track!
And in my debut appearance of doing a tournament race in this game, I already have a lap that's good enough to get into the top 8. Even though I would like to say I am still well off the lap record, which was surprisingly set by the BMW M5 and a guy called Scooter. Anyways, these are the points. So, 330 credits in damage, but still able to get more than 2 grand, so wouldn't say that's too much for my first attempt. Of course, I knew I wasn't going to get away from this clean. Repair bills are very much a thing in this game, and I start off the event good with a win, and now we press on to race 2, which takes place in France. It is possible to get a clean race bonus if you don't hit anything, but on a lot of these tracks that's not going to be easy to do. And we also get car upgrades as well, but because I cannot afford any of these yet, I will be able to afford these when I get on to the special events, but for now, let's get on with the rest of this championship as we continue at Route Adomf. For our second race, as I wait for the game to load. Loading screens do take fairly long, but at least I can say I'm playing this on my PlayStation 3, so that's probably the main reason why the quality is better than it would be if it was on the actual... If it was on the actual PS1. And I should also mention, whoever the leader is in the championship up to that point of when the next race is on, you automatically start on pole position because, well, you're essentially leading the herd, and then basically if you know the racing is going to be easy, then you can pretty much just shoot off into the sunset. If you know your car is good enough to win under those circumstances. Of course, I'm never going to guarantee that will be the way it always ends up. And we do at least get an easy start, so it is fair to say, because I'm very much a beginner to this whole thing, I'm fairly certain there's going to be an abundance of challenges that will follow up from when I have completed the first couple of events, as of which these first couple of events are relatively easy. And shooting down this road now at over 125 miles an hour, and on the brakes, narrowly avoid scraping the wall there, although that could have easily been worse than it actually was had I gone straight into those rocks. I'm pretty sure that would have been a massive repair bill. I did also mention before, it is possible to get clean race bonuses in this game if you don't hit anything, and technically if you're running at the front of the pack and you manage not to hit anything, then that's pretty much the best way you can get a clean race bonus.
You're in first place. It's the final lap.
And already one lap has gone by so quickly, in the space of somewhere over 2 minutes, and I am just absolutely decimating the competition at the moment, because I have at least a 10-second advantage at this stage, and part of the reason for that is because, well, this first event is easy, but I can assure you these events will get harder and harder as we press along, and it's also fair to say there is going to be plenty of trial and error to come for these next few weeks. And not just in terms of actually playing the game, but I just mean in terms of actually trying to find the time just to get through this game overall. As I said before, I don't think music in this game is copyrighted. Of course, I did turn it down so I could at least hear my voice. I basically turned everything down on the volume settings so I could hear my voice. And able to save the car as I once again run wide there on the corner entry, but still able to at least hold my ground as I am leading this thing still by over 10 seconds, and trying to keep this about as clean as I can. I've already got replay footage of this car from the first race, and so I'm going to win 2 out of the first 3 races. I'm also pretty sure I'm gonna get a clean race bonus.
That's your best lap! You won the race!
Yeah, what he said. So, 2 wins in a row for me and the BMW.
3,
And
2, 1, go!
it is very much even Stevens on both parts for this championship, the way I see it. So Nemesis once again was second, followed by Bullet. Chump finished in 4th this time ahead of Ranger, and Frost finished in last. I think this is going to cause a shuffle in the points if I'm not mistaken, but anyways, let's move on to the point standings. After 2 of 3 races.
Congratulations! You've got a top time for this track!
In this event. So, putting my name in again, and I do manage to scrape into the top 8 best lap times here at Route Adomph, I think that's how you say it, and we do get a clean race bonus because I did not hit anything. So a grand in bonus along with the 2.5k that we also get. So I'm pretty much the favourite to win it all now. Doesn't matter where I finish. Nemesis is second, followed by Bullet. Chump is still in 4th, ahead of Frost, and Ranger is still in last. So it's very much even Stevens on who is going to be best of the rest, but it looks like Nemesis probably is going to get the runner-up spot, as we now head to Durham Road for our final race. I would also like to say Durham is the name of a city in England, as of which I myself, technically being an Englishman, I actually don't live too far from Durham. Couldn't tell you precisely where it is, but I know it's not too far from where I live. And I'm gonna have to pause the video for a moment because I have got low FPS issues again. Unsurprisingly. Do excuse me a moment whilst I wait for this game to load. Okay, hopefully I've got the issue solved now for probably the next 6 to 7 minutes or so. Okay, anyways. Alright then. So, it is now time for our final race of the Worldwide Roadster Classic, as of which I am unsurprisingly starting on the pole once again here at Durham Road. I should also mention there is a place in England called Durham County, and it's actually not too far from where I am. I think it's somewhere in the Liverpool vicinity. I couldn't tell you precisely where it is, but I think it's not too far from where I live. I think it's somewhere in the depths of somewhere under Liverpool, if I'm not mistaken. Although I could be wrong. But yeah, I do know there is a place in England that is called Durham, and I'm also aware of Durham County to anyone who does or doesn't know. Although I should also mention I never was good with maps, which is one of my weak spots, but whatever. I came here to win, and winning is definitely something I am doing here at this stage because, well, I am pulling out to take... Oh, that's a wall. I kind of knew that was going to happen. I should also mention this track does have some tight bends. And really doesn't surprise me to say that I did end up scraping the wall there through that one left-hander. But anyways, so heading through these two virtually square-shaped right-handers and onto the second lap now.
You're in first place. It's the final lap.
And now moving on to the second lap here at Durham Road, and it's also the final lap of this championship. And it is fair to say, the way I see it, I'm going to win this race like I won the previous two races by a fairly comfortable margin. I should also mention I am still finding my feet with this game, but so far at least, everything seems to be functioning normally. As I can see, vehicles just up above me. I should also mention it's not going to be too long before we do end up seeing vehicles on these roads where I am. It's only going to be a matter of time before we do have to race with other vehicles on the road. Of course, I would imagine that's definitely going to be the case in hot pursuit mode, the way I see it. God, I just cannot get on the brakes in that one corner. I just cannot figure out what the proper entry line is to just get into that one corner. It's almost as if I'm just never going to manage to get through that one corner properly, and it's basically just going to make me scrape the... It's just basically going to make me go straight into the fence no matter what I try and do. Even if I am slowing down and trying to get a corner exit. Anyways, I win.
That's your best lap. You've won the race.
And on my second lap, I did it in just under 2 minutes. Or on second thoughts, I should say it's a sub 2 minute time. And no change in terms of the running order. It's basically what I would have expected. So, already got the replay shots whilst I'm here. So, Nemesis is going to finish second in every race, followed by Bullet. Chump does get 4th position in the end ahead of Frost, and Ranger, if I'm not mistaken, should finish in last. And so, let's now move on to the point standings. But first...
Congratulations! You've got a top time for this track!
Yeah, there's that. And... wow. I actually went further up in the lap time rankings than I thought I was going to. I've got 5th best overall here at Durham Road, in spite of me scraping the wall in that left-hander on both laps that I can never seem to do right. So, you know, that's actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but I think if I was on the brakes more in that corner, I think I probably would have reduced the damage a bit. But either way, I don't care, because I get a perfect score of 24 points. Nemesis is second with 18, followed by Bullet in third, who has 8 points. Chump will take 4th ahead of Frost, and Ranger finishes in last. And now we move on to the bonus money.
Congratulations! You have won the gold trophy!
So yeah. Congratulations. You have won the Worldwide Roadster Classic gold trophy. Easily. Now try competing in the regional club circuit. I will do that in a couple of segments time, but just not now. And I'm also going to save the game whilst I'm here because I figured that's important. Just waiting for the game to load whilst I'm here. And yes, I will save it. Yes. And there we go, the game is saved. Awesome. Let's now move on. So that is our first of 6 tournament events down, and next time we will be moving on to the special events, and where the first event we do is going to be the Weekend Road Racing Classic. Coming up next.